The big entertainment story of the day is that Alec Baldwin is going to be charged with involuntary manslaughter in the shooting of the cinematographer of a film called Rust. You'll remember this was a big controversy at the time. Apparently, Alec Baldwin had pointed the gun. It's a Western of some sort. He had pointed the gun at a camera, and then he had shot the gun, and there was live ammo in the gun, and he ended up killing the cinematographer. The New York Times reports for more than a year, the actor Alec Baldwin has tried to defend himself against the suggestion he bore responsibility for the fatal shooting of a cinematographer on the set of Rust, a low-budget Western he was filming on the outskirts of Santa Fe, New Mexico. He told detectives he had been assured the gun he was rehearsing with that day did not contain live ammo, sat down for an extensive TV interview, sought indemnification for financial liability in the case, and then sued crew members on the film, claiming they were the ones responsible for handing him a loaded gun. But on Thursday, prosecutors said they would charge him with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter in the killing of the cinematographer. Helena Hutchins, 42, saying they believed he had a duty to ensure the revolver was safe to handle. Andrea Reeb, special prosecutor appointed by Santa Fe County's district attorney to help handle the case, said, quote, "We're trying to make definitely clear that everybody's equal under the law, including A-listers like Alec Baldwin. We also want to make sure the safety of the film industry is addressed and things like this don't happen again." The film's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, who loaded the gun that day and was responsible for weapons on the set, will also be charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. The film's first assistant director, Dave Halls, who handed Baldwin the gun, agreed to a plea deal on the charge of negligent use of a deadly weapon. So a lot of people were pretty surprised by this because they said, well, hold up, Baldwin was handed a loaded gun, and he had no reason to believe that there was actually live ammo in the gun. SAG-AFTRA, the union that represents film, TV, and radio workers, said that the death of this particular cinematographer was a preventable tragedy, but it was not a failure of duty or a criminal act on the part of any performer. So here are some of the prosecutors talking about Baldwin. Originally, you'll remember that Baldwin claimed he didn't even pull the trigger, that the trigger sort of pulled itself. And some of the prosecutors like, oh, well, that's not true.
I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never.
The Santa Fe County District Attorney and Special Prosecutor telling Judge Janine that Baldwin isn't being truthful, and they say Hutchins would be alive if he had done his job.
We definitely believe he pulled the trigger. The FBI lab report confirms that, so definitely the trigger was pulled.
Well, I mean, clearly the trigger was pulled. Guns don't fire themselves, contrary to popular opinion. We'll get to more on this in just 1 second. First, if the past couple of years have taught us anything, it's that in a crisis-like situation, it can be very difficult to come by the things you actually need. Remember during the pandemic at the very, very beginning, you couldn't get any toilet paper? Well, imagine that something bad happens after a natural disaster. Now you can't get the antibiotics you need. That's a serious problem. This is where Jace Medical comes in. You need to be prepared for anything, and my new partners at Jace Medical are here to help. Jace Medical helps you get a long-term supply of prescription medication. Their mission is to empower you to be better medically prepared. A great way to start preparing is with the Jace case. It's a pack of 5 different courses of antibiotics you can use to treat a whole host of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs, respiratory infections, sinusitis, skin infections, and more. All you have to do is fill out a simple online form and, in some cases, jump on a quick call with one of their board-certified physicians. From there, you can ask your physician treatment-related questions on an ongoing basis. This is a smart thing to do. You got to be prepared in case of crisis, and Jace case allows you to do so. I have the Jace case. It means that my family has what we need if the worst should happen. I want you to be prepared for anything as well. Go to jacemedical.com, enter code BEN at checkout for $10 off your order. Again, that's jacemedical.com, promo code BEN. Also, if you are tired of the government playing games with your savings and your retirement plan, you should at least invest a little bit in precious metals. It's something that I've done. I don't like the government having total control of all of my assets. I don't like them being to inflate and deflate the currency. I'm not a big fan of them being able to regulate the stock market in particular ways, which affects my portfolio. There's one asset that has been a durable store of value for literally all of human history, pretty much, and that would be gold. This is why I invest at least a little bit of my money in precious metals from my friends over at Birch Gold. Birch Gold makes it easy to convert an IRA or 401k into an IRA in precious metals. Text BEN to 989898. Claim your free info kit on gold. Then talk to one of their precious metal specialists. When you purchase from Birch Gold by January 31st, you'll get a signed copy of my book, How to Destroy America in 3 Easy Steps, which seems more and more like the Biden administration's playbook these days. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, thousands of happy customers, and countless 5-star reviews, you can trust Birch Gold to help you protect your savings. I bought gold because I was tired of my money being impacted by dumb decisions made by our leaders in Washington, D.C. If you want to be more like me, text BEN to 989898. Claim that free information kit. Get a signed copy of my book. That is BEN. Text it to 989898 today. The DA, Mary Carmack Altwies, said that Baldwin should have checked the gun and the projectiles, and that's why this is effectively his responsibility.
But if you have an actor with what he or she thinks is a prop gun, not a real gun, is that actual negligence if it turns out that gun can actually shoot?
It's more than that.
Every person that handles a gun has a duty to make sure that if they are going to handle that gun, point it at someone and pull the trigger, that it is not going to fire a projectile and kill someone. And this is really about justice for Helena Hutchins. We've talked to many actors, A-list and otherwise, that have said that they always check their guns, or they have someone check it in front of them.
Okay, now, obviously, there are other actors who suggest that's not, in fact, the case. The statute in New Mexico is relatively vague, and it depends on sort of what you consider his legal duty. According to the New Mexico statute on involuntary manslaughter, they say that involuntary manslaughter consists of a lawful act, commission of a lawful act, which might produce death in an unlawful manner or without due caution and circumspection. So the question is this without due caution and circumspection? What the prosecutors presumably are going to have to prove is that there was a duty for Baldwin to actually check the loading of the gun. And so somebody else was responsible for it, or is he responsible for it? Privately, a police report said he had lamented to a detective that if, quote, your name becomes associated with something, nobody wants to work with you anymore. Nobody. Obviously, it's we'll see how this trial falls out. I don't actually know the answer as to on set who is responsible for ensuring that the guns that you use are actually unloaded. I actually kind of find it somewhat hard to believe, actually, that actors are to be tasked with determining whether the guns they are being handed are loaded or not. I mean, that seems like an act of dramatic irresponsibility on the part of whomever the advisor to the film is, the person who's doing the technical advising, who actually makes sure that the guns are supposedly unloaded. Baldwin says himself that it's not the practice for actors to check their own guns. But we'll keep an eye on that developing story because it obviously is of some interest. Alec Baldwin's lawyers, for their part, say they're confident they'll win because, again, the idea is that he's not responsible for checking the ammo. You're responsible on a personal level, by the way, for checking your own ammo, but apparently Alec Baldwin is not. I don't know the answer to this on a set. I just don't. Alrighty, guys, the rest of the show is continuing right now. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be talking with former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo about all things China, Russia, and the Trump administration. If you're not a member, become a member. Use code Shapiro at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans. Click the link in the description and join us.